This episode of the National Squash League podcast is brought to you by Dakota. Like the National Squash League, Dakota moves fast. Built in Philadelphia, driven by precision, and focused on performance at the highest level. Dakota is a financial, software, data, and media company powering the global investment ecosystem. Their flagship platform, Dakota Marketplace, helps teams raise capital, source deals, track peers, and access comprehensive data all in one place. Just as the NSL connects elite players, teams, and fans to grow the game, Dakota connects the people and information that move markets forward. Since 2006, Dakota's mission has been simple: help others get what they want out of life. And they're changing the game by putting service first. Learn more at dakota.com. On today's National Squash League podcast, we have a review of all three matches from the weekend. We had an unbelievable match with Lake Erie and Greenwich, had an unbelievable match with Chicago and Louisville, and had a great match over in Seattle, our first one on the West Coast between the Seattle Freeze and the Lake Erie Beacons. We also did an interview with Dimitri Steinmann to get his perspective on the match, some of the controversy, and whether or not we will be seeing Greenwich in playoffs in June. And to wrap it up, no surprise, we're going to talk about the big match of the weekend between the New York Knights and the Philadelphia Lightning. Who's playing? What's going to happen? What's the theme? Who's visiting? And how are we going to get in the New York Knights' head so we can ensure that the Philadelphia Lightning will be in the playoffs come June? Without further ado, let's go. Welcome to the National Squash League podcast presented by Dakota, changing the way capital has been raised since 2006. Today is April 20th, 2026, and we are back in the Dakota studio, but we have a new face with us today. Spencer is just getting back from Seattle. He had a crazy weekend, but co-host today also had a bit of a crazy weekend. We welcome Joe Robinson to the podcast, who works with US Squash, but he also had the pleasure of commentating not one, but two matches this weekend. So Joe, tell us about yourself. Tell us what you're doing. Tell us about how the matches were this weekend.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be on the podcast, the debut NSL weekend. Obviously, a couple of matches commentating Friday and Sunday. Yeah, I'm normally a coach, but decided to get behind the mic this weekend and today, and it's been a great weekend of NSL squash. It's been great to see all the matches.
And so, Joe, I think everyone can tell from your accent that maybe you're not from America. Where are you from originally?
I am from Grimsby in England, a very small town. Made it all the way to Philadelphia just for this.
And how did, tell everyone just for fun, how did you get involved in squash when did you first start playing? And tell us if you've had any notable wins in your squash career recently.
I'm not sure I've had notable wins, but
I took
you out, yeah.
That was a huge win for you.
Big win. But yeah, I started playing when I was younger, about 10, 11 years old. Just started playing fun with my friends and then got involved in all the junior circuit and stuff like that, and then decided to go into coaching, made my way over to the US with Nick Taylor, and now one of the head coaches over at the Spectre Center. So it's been and
it's a big weekend at the Spectre Center, right?
Always.
So we're going to get into the Philadelphia Lightning match at the end. But let's before actually we get into the recap of the weekend, I want to be the first from the National Squash League to say congratulations to Nora Gohar. She just announced the birth of her child, Layla El Sissi. Yeah. Super exciting. What I didn't know, and we talked about this before we started recording, Nora's husband and father of Layla, world #1 fencer. And, if you look on their Instagram, he looks like super beast athlete. Probably could have been a football player, in your words, soccer player here. Probably could have been an American football player.
Could have been anything he wanted to be.
That guy, he looks like a Greek god, honestly. And so I imagine that, Layla, I already have her on Philadelphia Freedom's watch list to draft her before the New York Queens get any hints that she might be a good squash player, a good athlete.
Well, she might be, a world #1 in some other sport. Combining squash and fencing, that's a dangerous duo for anyone.
Something in her hand. She'll be great. Maybe tennis, who knows? But anyway, congratulations, Nora.
100%.
Very excited that it went well. And hopefully we see her coaching the New York Queens in June, depending how it all goes. So
yeah.
That should be fun. So I wanted to get that out of the way. But let's dive in. Normally, I also like to do a recap with Spencer on the state of the National Squash League, but we can't do that. We're just going to dive right into the first match of the weekend. We're going to go in chronological order, Lake Erie versus Greenwich, which you actually also commentated, which was important.
Yeah.
And the other fun fact, so let's go through the rosters first. Greenwich, King of Kings, best roster in NSL history. #1, Mustafa Asal. #17, Dimitri Steinmann. #18, Gregoire Marsh. Versus Lake Erie with Ben Smith, #105. Tom Walsh, #79. And David Bayarjian. Am I saying that right?
I reckon you got it.
For a Canadian, that's a hard name. He's technically right now ranked #190. He's been as high as, I think, #7.
Been in the top 100%, yeah.
But he's been injured, and it's been tough. And the other interesting note was Nick Spizzirri we'll say he's not a classmate of mine, but went to the University of Pennsylvania. He was a late scratch. He's been playing amazing squash, and unfortunately, he had not one but two upsets down in Bermuda, including Newport Dragons. Timmy Brownell.
Yeah, he was on fire this week.
He's crushing it. Yeah. So he was gonna play, but then he got late scratch. And honestly, so what they did was they picked up Tom Walsh, who's based out of Florida, and put him on a plane pretty much the day before, because that's when Nick won. I sort of looked at this. I was like, they're screwed. Greenwich is gonna win 4-0, no problem.
Yeah, me and Sean on commentary were saying before the match started that we thought it was going to be a 4-0 absolute blowout for the Panthers. Obviously, didn't quite pan out that way, as we're going to get into, I'm sure, in a minute.
But the other interesting fact, so I asked you before, Ben Smith, and I'm always like, what's Ben Smith's deal? And you know Ben Smith very well.
Yeah, so me and Ben are from the same town, flying the Grimsby flag high. Made it all the way over here, and we sort of grew up together playing in the same club, him and his brother, down at Cleethorpes Squash Club. And it's been great to see, his progression through the rankings. And obviously he's at 105 right now, but he has been up in that 80 to 70 area. But yeah, I mean, he took it to the Panthers. And in my opinion, when the man of the matches go out, it should be Ben for that match.
Very interesting. I mean, the stats definitely back it up. I will also add what I think is very interesting about Ben Smith is I thought his NSL career was dead. Because last year, unfortunately, just for the fans, Timmy Brownell, I thought ended Ben Smith's career with the best squash shot in NSL history with the whirly bird at 2-2 in overtime, and I thought that was the last we were going to see of Ben Smith. Yeah. But I was proven wrong, and to your point, he was unbelievable in this match.
Yeah, he was their power play specialist. He had 4 power plays that they used every single one on him, and it really paid off. He was their marksman. It was unbelievable to see.
Yeah. All right. So let's dive into the first period. And again, you were commentating, so feel free to add color as needed. What I like to do normally, just to make it succinct and quick, is I like to give this recap of the score and what I think was the key moment. Yeah. Sometimes I go off script. Sometimes there's too many key moments I need to talk about. But let's start. And also for context, Greenwich is fresh off, the biggest upset in NSL history. Again, this roster is unbelievable, but they had no business losing last week to Newport. No offense, Newport. And there was a lot of pressure on them going into this match. So we were excited to see how it would come out. As we talked about, we thought it was going to be a throttling. So first period was 22-15 for the Greenwich Panthers. And again, I was a little surprised. Dimitri and Gregor, both had even shit. It was 9-all. The most important part of this period was Mustafa Asal coming on 9-all. Both power plays were gone. So pretty much it just came down to, I think it was Asal versus, I think it was
David, wasn't it?
David, yeah. And they had no hope. Four straight points for Asal at 9-all to get 39, and he just didn't look back. And the crowd was treated some good Asal squash there.
Yeah, it was good to see actually that Asal was taking it pretty seriously, and he was playing like unbelievably well for periods. And David, like we said, he's at 190 right now, coming back from an injury, but David was keeping with him pretty well, even though the score maybe didn't reflect it. It was definitely tough for Asal.
I think there's a lot of pressure, and I think you could see it a little bit in Gregor, and we'll talk more about him. I think once they got that first period, though, it was kind of really 7 points, 7-point difference. It was very good, but we're going to quickly move to the second period, because the second period is that's
where it happened.
All hell broke loose at first. And so, again, it was one of those things where it was going back and forth, and what happened was the key moment of this. So let's get to the score. The score was 19-18 for Lake Erie. And it was very controversial at the end, but what happened was the key moment was Tom Walsh. Tom Walsh, again, fresh off the plane from Florida, he gets subbed on, and he's the last sub for the team at 9:52 left. And anyone that knows anything about the NSL, 8 minutes in the NSL is different than 8 minutes in PSA. Yeah. And when you put a player ranked number 76, fresh off a plane for 10 minutes he was going against Dimitri Steinmann and Gregor Marsh, world number 16 or world number 17 and 18, I thought Tom Walsh. I actually texted Timmy. I said, Timmy, 2-0 Greenwich. This was terrible coaching, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, like you said, a little bit of a different circumstance, him coming off a plane, and then 8-9 minutes against two of some of the world's best is an impressive shift for him to sort of close it out and squeeze them to that second period victory. It was great to see.
Well, and it wasn't like, what was surprising to me was he wasn't doing anything too fancy with Dimitri, but then when he was playing against Gregor, I just felt like he was stepping up on the tee. He was moving. So, I mean, he was making Gregor move, and all the errors were just coming. It was mind blowing. I don't get how Tom did that.
I think it was maybe a little bit of pressure off. Obviously, they were massive underdogs in terms of, their lineup and the stakes for that match. And Tom went on, no fear, was chipping the ball around, was just containing, obviously, Greg and Steinmann are very, very fast, very athletic players, and just completely nullified all of their weapons, and it was unbelievable, like tactical masterclass from Tom.
And I don't know if it was the coaching for, or if it was his experience. Obviously, he played in the NSL last year, was with the Atlanta Tornadoes, made the playoffs. It was super fun to watch, but the controversy. So, again, Gregor Marsh gets subbed on with a 15-14 lead, and then Tom gets it to 19-17. And there's about 15 seconds left, and it's kind of like, okay, I don't think he's going to win and get the point off. And what happened was Gregor hits a shot in the front right. Tom asked for a let, and apparently I got the inside scoop that there was a mic issue at the facility, so no one could hear the referee's decision or what was going on the stream. And you were watching the stream too. It was very clear to see that the ref
it was a
let.
Yeah,
and I think it was a let. I don't think that was a wrong call at all. So they play on 19-17. Gregor wins the last point as the buzzer goes off, and 19-18, and the Lake Erie Beacons start celebrating, as they should, and the Greenwich Panthers blew up.
Yeah, it all was directed towards the referee, which unfortunately was Spencer's brother as well, which was quite entertaining for me. But yeah, it was a big controversy. The other thing that I found out from Spencer as well that evening was that the Panthers couldn't see Sam, which is why he then in the third period moved down to the front row, because they couldn't see the hand signal. Obviously, it was this side, the beacons were this side, so it was kind of covered by the crowd and maybe Sam.
Yeah.
So that's when we saw the owner go up. We saw Asal Steinmann absolutely just letting loose at Sam and just letting him have it in terms of what they thought of that decision.
The picture of Mustafa Asal, Dimitri Steinmann, the owner Stephanie Borges and Steve Ketchum, all looking at Sam and Spencer and screaming, and they had to pull up. This was our version of the
stream, wasn't it?
They had to pull up the stream. They had to pull up you guys and show that Sam had called the let. It was just chaos at its finest. And I also learned that the Greenwich Panthers, they thought, and maybe this is my fault, I sort of told them, I was like, they thought they had to win 4-0 for a chance at the playoffs.
So that's what we were thinking as well, because we were like, oh, well, that's the end of it. We were almost saying that we can see why they're so mad. We understand, because that's, the end of their journey. And then we got it through a couple of minutes later that it didn't matter too much. They can still get in the playoffs with the result they got.
Correct.
But understandably so, either way, you can see why they were so animated. Now, obviously, when they got the stream footage and Spencer had to step in and explain, they kind of calmed down a little bit. But then for the rest of the match, Sam moved down to the front row, and it was all breezy after that.
Well, it was definitely breezy if you're a Greenwich Panthers fan, and we'll talk about why. So Cleveland wins the second, 19-18. Now going into the third period, the final score of the third period was, 33-28 for the Greenwich Panthers. And, third period, there's always a lot going on, but I think the easy, and again, this almost goes against what I said about Tom Walsh, the key moment was Asal's 12-minute shift.
Yeah.
12 minutes. He was on court for the last 12 minutes, and he got on court down 21-14. Yeah. He did have a power play in the pocket, but so did Lake Erie. And, this is why you have the world number one. It was so fun to watch, and the fact that he was able to bring them back to victory. And again, he won his shift by down 7, up 5, so 12 points. Yeah. It was just very fun. And again, to your point, he was taking it very seriously.
Yeah. I mean, in the first couple of periods, you could see he was taking it seriously. It did look quite easy for him. It looked like he was in sort of second gear.
Yeah.
And then when he came on with 12 minutes to go, last period, team was down. He then switched into this is the World Champs final, and then just started to really turn it up and just went for them completely. And that shift pulled them through in the end.
But what may have gone unnoticed, and I'm a big fan of coaching controversies. I put a lot of pressure on the coaches. I don't know if you saw this, but actually just before Asal came on for his 12-minute shift, you can see in the stream, Coach Luke Butterworth put up the red flag.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he put it up and then said never mind or what happened, but Dimitri Steinmann was on court. And so if that power play gets called, then Asal doesn't get that power play. And Asal got 5 points, which is above average, which is very good. But that was almost the biggest coaching blunder. And then it got taken off. And then after that point was the yellow flag and the red flag for Asal sub and power play, which started the run. But that could have been bad, very bad for Greenwich.
Bit of a mix-up from Luke there, I think, maybe with the colours. I don't know whether he's colourblind or not, but he's struggling with the flags. But yeah, Sal was given a couple of power plays as well earlier in the match and didn't really take advantage of them. But then in that last period, he really turned it on, turned up the heat, and started to go for it, and it was good to see.
And the other key moment, and this is going back to the refereeing decision, at 20-24,
there was definitely a brutal no-let for Ben Smith against Asal, where the ball came in the middle, a little bit of I thought, traffic congestion, asked for a let and got a no-let to get to 21-24. And then at 23-24, when Tom Walsh is on to finish it, Tom turns on a ball, and again, general interference, safety let, and he got another no-let. So that's 2 points. And I say in the PSA, 2 points matters a little more than in the NSL, but this came down to a 5-point difference, and Tom had to start shooting at the end. Those 2 points, I think, were massive, and it went in Greenwich's favor. The question is, was that because of the freak out at the end of the second period?
I mean, it could have been. You see, in other sports, the referee is influenced sometimes a little bit by the players, by the crowd. Yeah. Obviously, it was home advantage for the Panthers as well, so maybe the crowd's getting in his ear. I do think that the no-let for Ben was a little bit more understandable, coming sort of more towards his body, and he was sort of doing a bit of a ballerina move in the middle. The one for Tom being a no-let, I think that's very harsh. I think, obviously, he turned on the ball, which you're not particularly meant to do, but it's not his fault that the ball's come down the middle, and he's had to turn onto his forehand, and unfortunately for him, got a no-let. And that could have just stemmed the tide. It could have given him a little bit more momentum. Like you say, that 1 point could switch everything.
Yeah, and we talk about it. I talk about it with Dimitri later too. Dimitri fully acknowledges those probably should have been lets, but I think I also acknowledge, if I didn't say it then, I'll say now. Like, I think there's a butterfly effect. So say it's a let, Asal maybe turns it up even a little bit more, kicks it into the gear, and arguably you could say Asal finished the last couple points in sort of exhibition mode. He was hitting a couple shots between the legs. And I am usually for that. But anyway, final score 33-28, and why this this match was key. The first fact, last winless team on the men's side, done. Greenwich was 0-3 going into this match. They finally have their first win. And it's crazy. They were the only team without a win despite their insane roster. Yeah. So Greenwich is now in play for the wild card spot. So because of the result of this match, based on point differential, Greenwich now has a +3 point differential. They have the same period points as Atlanta, but better PD. So Atlanta is officially out because of this match. Right. And they have more period points than Nashville did. They have 4 points versus Nashville's 3. So Nashville is unfortunately out. And so Greenwich, despite what they thought, they are actually, as things stand, right now in the driver's seat of the wild card, depending on how Newport goes.
I mean, I think, if they do get in the playoffs, which it's looking maybe slightly likely they might, and obviously on paper, you look at their roster and it's like, well, they're dead set, they're in. Yeah. I think something's got to change in terms of how they sort of manage the format. Mm-hmm. Although they had the top 20 players, to me, it looked a little bit random. It looked a little bit unorganized in the way that they were using the players that they have. And Lake Erie did a really good job at tactically sort of demanding the match. Tom was used there to do the heavy lifting, to run the clock. Ben was there pretty much power play, 5 nicks off, and then David was there to fill in the gaps in between. And I think that's what really caught the Panthers out, was how well Lake Erie managed their squad.
Yeah, and I think that's where we got to shout out Coach Will Hopton of Lake Erie. I mean, I actually sent him an email after. I mean, I thought he did a masterclass. I don't know. I should have honestly spoken to him more. I'm like, the Tom Walsh shift, and if he was specifically talking about the usage of Ben Smith. I mean, Ben Smith, he was a walking highlight reel. I think I counted somewhere in one of his power plays, his power play point total. So 5, 4, 4, and then Asal, we should give Asal credit. He held him to 2 on that last power play in the third to keep that lead. But I think on all of those power plays, I think there was one where he had like 4 just dead rolling nicks.
2 feet off the floor.
Oh, jumping. I mean, it was so fun to watch. And I'm glad Ben Smith, I mean, he's one of those guys, ranked number 105. He could be a top 4, no, that's a little aggressive, but top 10 NSL power play guy like a Matthias Knudsen is.
Yeah, I mean, I texted him afterwards, and I think maybe, I can't say exactly what he said on the podcast, but he was definitely maybe a little bit surprised with himself that he'd hit that many sort of outrageous winners. And obviously it does depend on what kind of form he's in, and obviously he was feeling pretty good with all the shots he was playing, but he was certainly aware that was his role. I think maybe fitness-wise, Tom and David outrank him in that, but talent-wise and using his racket skills was very, very clever, in my opinion. They limited his minutes to keep him fresh, and then when it was the power play, it was all in, go for everything you can, pick the ball up when it's behind you, like very, very clever, and then Tom and David would come back on, fill in the gaps, and they did a great job at sort of just containing the rest of the Panthers team.
Yeah, so again, great match. Congratulations to the Greenwich Panthers. Playoff hopes alive. But let's kick it to our my interview with Dimitri Steinmann. I interviewed him the day after to talk about the match, what he saw, what his thoughts are, and why the Philadelphia Flyers will be beating the Pittsburgh Penguins this week. We now welcome on to the National Squash League podcast an 8-time winner on the PSA Tour and current world number 17, a member of the Greenwich Panthers, fresh off their crazy NSL week that included 2 matches in 6 days,
from Zurich, Switzerland, which is where he's off to right now from the JFK airport for the Grasshopper tournament. He is Dimitri the Jet Steinmann. Dimitri, how are you tonight?
Hey, BG, I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. And the first question, and it's an easy layup question. I think it's obvious why you're called the Jet, but I'm honestly curious as a fan, who was the first person to like coin the name the Jet?
That's actually quite a funny story because so my very first sponsor is the guy who does the printing on my t-shirts,
Okay.
and I was supposed to send him like some stuff over email, and my email address is jet3000@gmx.ch.
Right.
Because it was like I got that email when I was like 10, and I thought it was cool, cool, and Dimitri Steinmann at Gmail, whatever. So I sent him. He asked me for some stuff, and I sent it via my email. And like after 2 weeks, he calls me. I was like, "Dude, when are you going to send your stuff?" I'm like, "I already did." Like, I said, "Yeah, I don't have an email from Steinman or Dimitri." I said, "No, it's Jet 3000." I said, "Aha, so you're the Jet?" I'm like, "Yeah." Well, I don't mind. I guess I am.
So you knew at age 10 you were going to be the Jet.
Well, pretty much, yeah. Well, I grew up to a military Air Force base, so I always had an affiliation with aviation. So, yeah, I think, yeah, it was completely nothing with squash, though. So it just things like kind of goes smoothly into it.
And I'm totally getting sidetracked here, but I did watch your day in the life with Squash TV before this, and your dad and mom. Everyone always talks about them being Olympians, but did your dad also serve with the Swiss Army? Is that why you grew up next to a military base?
No. It's just like in the town I grew up in, they used to have the biggest Swiss Air Force military base. It's just by coincidence, but yeah, my father served as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and for you, and again, you're like, are you still technically serving, or are you done now?
I am serving. Yeah, I'm in active service.
And you're a medic. And my question was like, did you go to school for that as well?
No, it's like you go through like an 18-week sort of boot camp basically, where 9 weeks of that was on site for my platoon or whatever like it's called in English, I think. For my class, sorry. Yeah, no, and then I mean it was a great time. I had a great time doing it, and
I feel like you'd be
enjoyed
perfect
it.
for it too. I'm sure as a professional athlete, in terms of health and people would trust you.
Yeah, no, yeah, but it's like all it was with a bunch of other athletes. Like all the athletes from my class, they were trained as medics. So yeah, it was fun, like running around like abandoned houses and trying to fetch stuff, and it was kind of cool actually.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. And then the other thing from the day in the life video that I liked was the Jetmobile. And obviously I know you have the car sponsorship as well. Like, tell me more about the cars. You like cars?
I love cars. I really do. And yeah, I mean, I'm sponsored by Kia for a year now, and they've been really taking great care of me. And but yeah, cars has been a huge factor in my life ever since I was a kid, and I love racing. It's just it's besides sports, that's probably my biggest interest.
So so F1. So I assume, are you an F1? Would you be an F1 guy if you weren't playing squash?
Yeah, but like like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
That's like when I grew up as a kid basically. That's where I really love. Like I don't watch it as much anymore, but yeah, I would love to see myself in an F1 car for sure.
I love that. Now I have to be honest, there was one issue I had with your Squash TV day in the life. Do you recognize this logo right here?
I do, yeah.
This is the Philadelphia Flyers. They are right now in a battle. In an hour, we're going to have our drop the playoff series. We're playing the Pittsburgh Penguins. You're wearing a Pittsburgh Penguins hat in that video, and I have to ask why.
Oh, Sidney Crosby to me is just like the greatest player of all time.
Oh God!
So.
This is a problem. So I thought I was going to give you the benefit of the doubt, like someone gave it to you. You didn't know what it actually was. You actually like Sidney Crosby. You're a hockey guy too.
Yeah, I love Sidney Crosby. Yeah.
Makes me sick.
No. Come on, dude. Like, the guy's insane,
It's one of those things. I say this to my friends that are hockey guys. It's like, I hate Sidney Crosby with all my guts, but if he was wearing the orange and black, I love him.
For sure. Yeah, you want him on your team. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. It's
Oh,
great. I was actually thinking about getting the number 87 in the NSL, but opted for 23 because Jordan
Jordan.
outranks Crosby still. Yeah.
And you're Jordan guy over LeBron guy. I like that too. It says a lot about
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you. And again, that's a funny thing. And again, that's a good segue into the NSL. I mean, I gotta look back. I mean, Atlanta had 2 weeks between their matches this year, but you guys in Greenwich, I mean, it was kind of a tough schedule for you guys in that you had 6 days. I mean, it's probably easier from a scheduling perspective for you guys, but you had, the front end match against Newport, a tough loss. And then you go to Lake Erie, and it was a match that kind of, it was getting a little dicey, could have swung either way. You obviously came away with the win. I kind of was just curious, and this is a general question, but like, what was your biggest takeaway about the NSL? I guess just in the 6 days, whether it was the format, whether it was the scheduling. I mean, I feel like you guys went through a lot as a team in 6 days.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I'll take away is that like the ranking from like a PSA point of view, like if you're 17 or 50 in the world, it doesn't really matter in the NSL.
Yeah.
Like that's what we kind of noticed. Like on paper, we were higher ranked than both teams, but it really comes. The format is such a leveler when it comes to like how it plays out and tactics of how you're going to use the power plays and timeouts and everything. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting because usually in a regular game of squash, the guy wins, which is playing more in his rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, with playing on a clock, there is no rhythm, no individual one at least. So it creates I think a completely different sort of setting for how the squash is played.
Yeah.
And I like it. It's very interesting and it's great for upsets. Not the best for in our case, but I think as a product, it's very, very entertaining.
It's very entertaining. I was going to say, to your point, I think, and again, I'm an amateur squash player, so the light is always at the end of the tunnel for me. But I feel like for you at the professional level, there's never, on the PSA, there's never a light at the end of the tunnel. You could be on court for 2 hours, you could be on court for 30 minutes. But like you said, the NSL is kind of the great equalizer. And I feel like, your strengths, you can go toe to toe with anybody in terms of fitness and you could last on court forever. But do you feel like the pressure is different in the NSL because, on the other side, at least your fitness isn't so much as important as is your shot making. And again, this past match yesterday, you had some unbelievable kill shots that really, really got the crowd going.
Yeah, I think it's just because you don't get tired, so you can't really. Even if you get a guy tired, and let's say when he goes in for a longer stint for like 10 minutes. Everyone is fit enough to then recover in the next 15 when they step off court for 15 minutes to then go another 5 or 6 minutes, So that factor, like the endurance one, gets taken out of it completely from my point of view. But what I think is because I know I'm only going to be on there for like 6 or 7 minutes. I can really dial up the intensity. So like it's just not really holding back or. It doesn't matter if like even if someone holds you a lot, it doesn't matter. You can just push through it really. Like even if you get tired legs, you're going to be off in 2 minutes. So it's really just all out squash really. So I love it.
And I think that's what, to your point, I think it makes such a better, more exciting product for both you, the player, obviously there, and also for us, the fans, in that, that's what also makes power play special. And obviously I could go on and on about why I love the format. But can you also add some color? Now I'm taking you back to the Newport match first. Obviously, the big controversy sort of around the world was the higher tin, the 19 inches. For you as a player going into that match, is that something you consciously thought about, or it is what it is, and you play with what you got?
I thought it was. As a player, you just got to deal with it. It is what it is. But it kind of went against this whole concept, what we just spoke about, of bringing intensity.
Totally.
It was just mostly the points were decided by errors because none of us are used to play on higher tin, sorry.
Right.
So it was just a lot of shots which would have been phenomenal, but they just clipped. So I think that it needs to be like unified 17-inch tin for the NSL. And also, obviously, the rallies became very, very long because, everyone's fit, everyone can get the ball back. So it wasn't really a high scoring game either. So, I mean, I think, to get the ideal spectacle, you gotta go to 17 inch for sure.
Yeah, I mean, some of the points were just insanely long, and actually, like, kind of going. I thought you guys didn't hit enough tins. Obviously, that's why the point the things were so low. I mean, it was just amazing. Like, that's in my mind because you guys are used to playing at 2 inches lower, so I feel like it would be automatic. Like mine, where like go for this point, go for this point. But you guys I thought you guys adjusted really well, but obviously the result was crazy points, and it's a good segue to my other question of like when that last point of between Asal and Yaya in the third period. That went for 3 minutes. That cost you guys your power play. I mean, can you take me into what was going on the bench? Were you guys aware, or did it just kind of slip? I mean, it was that's never happened in NSL history, and it was just a wild moment and just unlucky.
Yeah, I was thinking for a second to throw my racket onto the court, so just there's a breakup in play. But it's kind of like it's in the rules. Like we looked it up, and like you're not allowed to basically intervene when the rally is in play. So we tried to call the power play whilst the rally was going, which didn't work.
Yeah.
And no one anticipated Yaya and Mustafa to play an almost 4-minute rally at this stage. So it was a bunch of unlucky circumstances, but we got a few tricks up our sleeves if that situation would maybe ever occur again. So, which I'm not going to give away here, obviously, but we're prepared.
Good, and that's what I asked Spencer. I was like, Spencer, like, what would you have done? Or it was like, he's like, I would have like tapped the glass, and I was like, hey, that's the NSL. It's a little bit lawless, and it should be fun. It should be fun for the players. And like, hey, if you want to throw your racket on, who knows? Ask for forgiveness, for permission.
No, for sure. Yeah, that was my kind of idea, but I was like, maybe don't want to be a bad guy already. So
so don't already. So now, all right. So Newport, flush it down the drain. Doesn't matter. Moving on to Lake Erie. Obviously, as you sort of said, on paper, you guys were far and ahead, better ranked. It obviously became a close match. I kind of want to go into that second period for you. I mean, your second period shift was fun. I mean, you tied it 6-all, but your last shot was electric. Was a slotting Nick, fist bump, take the 15-14 lead, and I thought you guys were going to take that second period. I just got to ask, in that isolated moment, how good did that feel to finish your shift on that winner?
I mean, it was obviously it was a great shot, and it came off exactly the way I wanted it to, and I don't know, like it was a fist pump to the team. Like I love to play for a team. It always brings more energy. Yeah, I felt like it was just a great moment, and which was after a high octane rally, which I really I enjoyed that one. So, and obviously hitting it that well. Just is the cherry on the top, right?
Right, and then take me into what was, again, I was watching live on the stream the end of the second period, and it was clear what happened from my end, but I think there was just some confusion from you guys on what the call was, the let, no let, and all that. And it sounds like in the moment you guys thought your playoff hopes were riding on that point. Can you take me through what was going on at the end of the second period when there was the confusion?
Yeah, so the thing is, there was a problem with the mic from the start of the match, so you couldn't hear the referee or the score. And obviously, like I watched it back on stream, it's quite visible that the ref goes let, but we didn't see that, and so you didn't hear a call. So I thought, there was no call, and then Greg served and won the point. And we're like, that's 19-all. And obviously they go, no, it's 18-19. And then, obviously, like, Mustafa and I were quite adamant that there was a no let. Right. So it was, it had us real fired up. And I mean, in hindsight, it's all right. Like, we were in the wrong in that sense. Like, we didn't see the call. So, but I think that kind of just goes back to like, as a team, we stood together and nearly got into a fight with the refs. So
Yeah, but like what I love about the NSL, it's very funny. Like obviously when the league started, it was a fun new format and all this stuff, this, that, the other. But you guys aren't the only ones. Like everyone cares. I care. I joke. My whoop stats in the Atlanta match where we won by 1 point, I got up to 156. Like in one way, it's kind of embarrassing, dude. It's embarrassing, but you just care. There's just something about team sport, like you said, that just brings out this different side of us, and you really want to win for your team. But it was cool to see. Again, I know it was a very human moment, and obviously you're on the other side of it, but it was kind of nice to see you guys care that much.
yeah, no, for sure. No, it's not like it means a lot to us. Obviously, like it's not like an exhibition or something where it's like, oh, okay, we lose this game, whatever. But no, it's like we knew like, all right, we got to perform today and we got to step it up, and then we bring our A game. And if there's any wrongdoing from our perspective, we're gonna, hold our ground, right? Which we were doing physically as well.
Yeah, that's squash. That's also sport. And again, I wasn't going to bring this up too much, but it's very interesting going into that third period. Asal with the mammoth, you and Asal, but Asal too had that mammoth 12-minute shift, and there was 2 key points that I thought you guys got some very generous lets. Or no lets, sorry, from the ref, and I think that was a little bit not totally influenced by the end of the second period, but maybe a little, and maybe it's just how it happens in squash. It happens all the time where there's sometimes correction calls, but those you guys were down 20-24, and then Asal got 2 no lets and it was tie game, and it was game on from there, and Asal with the tie game at the end of the third period is just tough to beat.
Yeah, no, for sure. Maybe like that's some leftover fear in the knees of the referee. Who knows? No, but I mean, yeah, I think that brings me on to a point. Like to a certain degree, I think there needs to be like a baseline of refereeing. I'm not saying the referee was bad or anything. It's just like it needs to be standardized, like the tin, basically.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a bit more tricky. I understand that, but obviously that sort of stuff, it shouldn't be happening. Like I agree, those no lets, they were never no lets. Are we taking them? Of course. Yeah. I mean, it's a point, right? But like it's just yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And
and NSL is still a startup, right? In terms of getting the
no,
people.
for sure, totally. Like it's I'm not gonna the outcome of the entirety of all the calls is 100% 50-50. Like it was fair and square, like I'm not gonna say that. It's just like, but again, it gives us something to talk about, and have fun, right?
And it's one of those things, like it's not like a binary, this result would have happened. Like if it was a let, whatever, like maybe the next point Asal just goes for the kill shot, and it could have gone either way. So it's fun to talk about, like you said, but it doesn't matter now.
No.
And it's a good segue again into now again, it's very funny. I was texting Stephanie after the match and I said congratulations, and she was like, this sucks, like we're done, blah blah. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like the wild card is very much on the table, and we're speaking now. The Chicago Grizzlies just took down the Louisville Colts 3-1. Chicago wins the division 2-0, and they clinched their spot, and that's important for you guys because Louisville now walks away. I think they only have 3 period points. You guys have 4 period points. The only other team in second place, technically, is Atlanta with 4 period points, but you have a better point differential than them. So right now, if the league were to end today, you guys would actually be you would be in the playoffs. You still need. So the 2 things that are, the New York Knights are the only ones that are a threat to you a little bit, in that if they beat the Philadelphia Lightning, my team, then you and I, we might compete depending how it goes, and then you obviously need Newport to win against Lake Erie. But do you have anything you want to say to the Philadelphia Lightning in advance of their match against the New York Knights?
Yeah, like Marwan was talking a big game on social media like he always does. So I actually for once tell him like to maybe back up his talk,
He is the NSL MVP, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But no. I mean, I wish you guys all the best, obviously, out of my own interest.
Yeah.
I'll be looking forward to and tuning into the games and watch them with excitement, of course. And yeah, see how this all will unfold, right?
Yeah, it should be exciting. And so, second to last question, if you guys make it into the playoffs, which I've always said, I think you guys will make it into the playoffs. How are you feeling? Again, I think this league is different. Like whatever team makes it into the playoffs, I think everyone has an equal chance at it. Do you feel like based on these last 6 days, you feel confident in your team and your strategy to take home the title?
I mean, we still have a lot of refinements to do. I think if we get it all together, we have a very good chance of winning it. But we have to. There's some things we just have to patch together, and if it clicks, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be difficult to beat us, right? So, yeah, we'll just have to figure that out. But again, that's confidential.
Honestly, that was too politically correct. I was hoping for the bombastic. We're gonna, shove it down all your throats. Screw you guys. You don't watch out. That's fine. That'll be my job. That is, as Spencer knows, that's what I've been doing all year with the Philadelphia Lightning because I just believe in it that much. But that's fine. Well, I did predict before the season began it would be Philly versus Greenwich in the finals, and I'm sticking to that. So,
I mean, that would be a great final, and I mean, yeah, it would be great to see you guys as runner-ups next to us.
Oh, there it is. Well, then, okay. So then
you asked for the heat, dude. I'm not gonna sit around, man.
It already started off on a bad foot, and I know what you're going to be doing on your flight. You're going to be watching this Philadelphia Flyers versus Pittsburgh Penguins, and when my Flyers take it to the Penguins 4-2, we're going to win at home in the final game. Just let that be a message to you and let you know that we don't mess around, man. Philly's.
Yeah. I have faith in Crosby to kick your ass.
I pray this ages well. Please age well. Don't make me look like an asshole, God. Anyway, Dimitri, I know you have a flight. Last question for the fans. You're heading to your hometown for your hometown tournament, the Grasshopper. Should be exciting. You made it to the quarters last year. Are you doing anything like what else do you have after that? I know there's Worlds. What else? Where can the fans find you?
So then I think the week after we have European teams actually in Amsterdam, and then we're off to the Worlds. So it's a busy schedule the next coming weeks, which I'm really looking forward to. I like it when there's a bunch of events back to back.
Nice.
So I had a good little period here in the US training and playing in the NSL, and now I'm feeling ready to go after it for the next couple of weeks. And yeah, feel confident in my squash. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I mean, again, I got to say, I've been watching you for a couple of years now, and I got to say, I feel like the NSL, you could tell, answer this it's fun to watch. I feel like you were really ripping some shots. You're really going for it, and some of those crazy like straight kills, which I just like. For me, I think that's one of the hardest shots. I feel like you pulled out like 4 or 5 of those in between the 2 matches. So I feel like your game's got to be in a good spot, and you got to be feeling pretty confident going into this busy schedule.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Cool.
100%.
Amazing. All right, Dimitri. Well, thank you very much for coming on the pod. Best of luck in all these tournaments. We'll be watching you. Obviously, we're always rooting for all our NSL guys. Hopefully, things shake out next week. The Lightning take the title, and then we'll see you in June. But before that even happens, go Flyers. Flyers will probably be in the Stanley Cup by then. So.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Cool.
All right, BG. Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, Joe. Now let's talk about the second match of the weekend: Chicago Grizzlies versus Louisville Colts. Now, major playoff implications here for the NSL. I always mix it up. I think it's the NSL Central. Technically, I mixed up the North, or maybe this is the South. I think it is actually the South.
Don't ask me about U.S. geography. I'm terrible.
I saw the suspension in the last episode. I'm confused by our divisions, but it was for a division. This was pretty much the first official. Playoff spot was going to be decided from this match because it was the last match of the division. Preview of the match or the rosters. Chicago's roster was unbelievable. Kareem Gawad, number 4. Simon Herbert, NSL veteran, number 59, and Yassin El-Shafi. I never actually watched him play before this. Number 78, great roster. Louisville's roster, Leonel Cardenas having a great season, number 13. Sam Osborne-Wild, number 63, and Perry Malik, number 66. A lot of English guys on this. You know these guys?
Yeah, I know. Don't know them well, but I know. They're part of the new guard of English players now that are coming through. Obviously, Simon a little bit older than Sam and Perry, but it's good to see some younger talent coming through from England.
Yeah. Well, I'm a fan of Perry only because Curtis Malik is on the Philadelphia Lightning, so always fun to watch them, and I feel like their swings are very similar. But the other fun fact about Simon Herbert, I love sharing this. I think I've already said this on the podcast before. He is one of 3 NSL marathon men, I call him, that have been on 3 teams in 3 years. Matthias Knudsen being 1, Simon Herbert being the 2nd, and Andrew Douglas being the 3rd. Other interesting fact I thought about this for Simon Herbert, he actually, in his NSL career, regular season and playoffs, he actually only has 2 losses ever.
Wow.
The first loss as his team was against the New York Knights the first year in the championship when he was with Nashville. And then his other loss was last year to none other than the Philadelphia Lightning.
Yeah, I was
there. Exactly. But both those teams ended up winning the division.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a recipe is if you beat Simon Herbert, you will win the division or you win the league.
Could be. Maybe he's the curse of whatever team he goes to. He's
There was some random fact. It was like Kirk Cousins. Like every team that beat Kirk Cousins in the last 10 years or so in football won the Super Bowl. I think this year it actually broke the curse, but it's wow, Kirk Cousins. So he might be the Kirk Cousins of the NSL. I'm not sure if he'll get that joke, but and then Sam Osborne, the other fun fact, Sam Osborne Wild actually just qualified for World Champs with some very solid wins over in Europe. So he's playing some great squash. But anyway, into the match. And before this match, obviously on paper, Chicago looks like they're going to crush him. So first period, this was very exciting. First period, 24-15 to the Louisville Colts. And not only did the Louisville Colts dominate them, but Kareem Gawad, the number 4 in the world, lost to Sam Osborne Wild 2-12. 2-12. There was a power play in there, but Sam got 7 points on that power play. And it was absolutely insane. I forget. Did you say you were able to catch up on this match or no?
Yeah, I've seen a few little bits from sort of each period, and I know that obviously on paper Gawad is meant to be the all-firing power play specialist.
Oh yeah,
just going for everything. Sam is very, very solid. I mean, the way he plays, another product of the Rob Owen Academy, obviously with Paul Cole, Jonah Bryan.
Yeah,
that kind of guard of players who are all pretty similar in the way they play. So I can see why Gawad maybe struggled a little bit.
Yeah,
with Sam, obviously very fast, very athletic.
Well, that was the thing. I thought this, or Joey and PJ said this, but he was like the Energizer Bunny. Like he was moving so fast, and Gawad was so you could see he was pissed. He was like, stop. He's like, relax. But that's not the point of the NSL. And I think this was Coach Fernando Valdezon, his coaching, because he also called the power play with 4 minutes and 7 seconds. It was literally just at the buzzer. Gawad had no idea what was going on, and it was 7 points, and before the period was over. It was unbelievable. And this is what the NSL is all about. World, what did I say Sam was? He's like 68,
63, I think.
63, and he just dusted the world number 4 to win the period.
And I think calling a power play for your player against someone like Gawad, even though they might not necessarily win all the points, it's going to slow him down. It's going to sort of tie him up for 2 minutes, obviously, especially if he's on good form, which at the minute, Gawad is playing unbelievably well.
Yeah.
Very clever from Fernando, obviously just in time before the 4 minutes, but having Sam on attacking a power play is almost a defensive sort of mechanism as well. And if he wins extra points, bonus, which he obviously did.
It worked out so well, but it's a great segue into the second period because it was so funny what happened. So Gawad's pissed at the end of the first period, which I love. Then the second period starts, and it's the same. It's Osborne Wild versus Gawad, and he was so pissed. He went up 9-2 in the first period without a power play, just taking it to Sam, and Sam had no idea what was going on. And then you saw Gawad point to the bench at 9-2 up. He's like, power play, give me the power play. So put up the flag, and then
he was feeling it.
He did exactly what Sam did to him. He was moving. I've never seen Gawad move this fast in years since he won World Champs. Moving so there was one point, I love this. He did pretty much what I don't know if you saw this. Remember that controversy of Fayrouz and Olivia Weaver?
Yes.
Fayrouz pretty much served with Olivia on her hip. Yeah. He served around Sam House. He threw the ball around and then served it, and it was so funny. He was pissed, but he got the equal amount, 7 points on the power play. Highly recommend you go watch that one. It was so funny.
He got his revenge on the power play.
Oh, and I think he ended the shift. I think it was 16-2. It was 16-2, but so he went down 2-12 in the first period against Osborne Wild. Then he went 16-2, no mercy, just absolutely ran the show. And then they were up 62. There was no hope. There is a little fun nugget here. Simon Herbert. So Simon Herbert got a little flack last year against our match because he was doing so well in the first and second period. He burned out in the third period.
Yeah.
So then at the end of the second period, he actually had a power play called against him, and he let up a regular season tying record, 8 points.
Yeah.
But you could kind of see he was conserving it. They had a great lead. Obviously, they only won by 5 points, but I gotta throw Simon under the bus a little bit because let up an NSL record, 8 points on the power play, and it was 35-30. But I mentioned that only because it's a good segue into the third period, which the Chicago Grizzlies won 28-25. And I also want to mention, I think this is the first time in NSL history that the third period actually had less points than one of the two previous periods, despite 10 more minutes. But, I mentioned Simon Herbert's flaw in the second period only highlight his skill in the third period, where he was saving up his energy, and he went 11-3 on his shift against, I think it was Sam Osborne Wild as well.
That's the thing with Simon. It kind of, he's obviously a very, very talented player and very athletic, very fast, but kind of depends almost what mood he's in. One period he can be not with it at all and just kind of going with the flow and not really going for it as much. And then, like we saw in the third period, he was a bit more on it, a bit more switched on, and decided that he was going to turn it on and really take it to the Louisville Colts.
And it was funny, he had a power play, and he actually only scored 2 points on the power play, but then all of his points, just after the power play, he was just crushing Sam Osborne Wild and got them the lead. And he was the only player on the Grizzlies that was positive in the third period. Gawad actually surprisingly was a -2, 17 and 19. And I don't know, you should also check this out. This is probably first for Gawad at least. He faulted in the last minute.
Yeah, that's not ideal, is it?
You can't do that as a world number 4. Rachel Arnold, who's world number 17 for, I think she is with DC Inferno, she also faulted. I think she faulted 3 times in her match against the New York Queens, which was a disaster. So anyway, congrats to the Chicago Grizzlies. They are, we'll call it the NSL South, whatever it is, NSL South Division
whatever
champs.
they are.
But here's where I get nervous, Joan. This is very important. It is obvious on the social media. If you're following people on social media, Bill Buckingham was a renowned Chicago Grizzlies fan.
Yeah.
And he also admitted, he wore the paper bag. And then there was a video that he released before the Chicago Grizzlies played their first match of the year with all his Philadelphia Lightning gear, pretty much telling the world that he is exclusively a Philadelphia Lightning fan at this moment. Now, since Bill Buckingham has converted to the Philadelphia Lightning, the Chicago Grizzlies are 2-0. Do I need to be worried that there's a Bill Buckingham curse and that now that he's a Philadelphia Lightning fan, we are doomed this weekend?
Maybe he's an inside agent. You never know. He might be giving teams some inside info on Philly Lightning and really going after you. You never know.
I mean, he controls the squash media. That's a fact.
He seems to control the squash world. Every video I see, Bill's on it.
Yeah, Bill's on it. Talking about U.S. squash. Talking about I'm very nervous. If we lose on Saturday, I have to blame Bill Buckingham. I'm just putting that out there now. It's the only thing that makes sense. What else is interesting? I think it's now in my notes say it's the NSL Central. So Chicago's the NSL Central champions. Their first match, they had a point differential of +2. This match, they had a point differential of -1. So
still got the win.
But they're 2-0. They're undefeated with a 1 point plus differential, and that just goes to show anything can happen in the NSL. The margins are super slim. Every point counts, and it's very fun. So with that, before we get into the last match of the weekend, let's go into the last match of the weekend that you called. It was the only women's match of the weekend. It was the Lake Erie Beacons making their season debut against new team, new franchise, Seattle Freeze in Seattle. First off, I just got to say, I mean, it looked unbelievable. I always said this on the podcast before. Have you ever been to Seattle?
No, never been.
I went once. And it's actually relevant. I'll talk about it later why it's relevant. But I went once for a JCT. This is like 2011. And I remember just being very impressed with the city, but also just the squash community, how big the facility was. Yeah. And even just like from the stream, you could just see it was it was packed. Yeah, it was good energy.
It was loud. It was, as Ryan Leslie says on the mic, it was loud and proud. And it seemed to be a great atmosphere. Obviously, you can't quite get it over the stream, but it seemed to be, every tin or every point that the Freeze won, it was all hands in the air, big cheers, and then as soon as Lake Erie won a point, silence. It was almost like playing in Egypt against an Egyptian. If you're a foreigner from there, it's a tough place to go.
And that's what this team-based format does. I mean, I'm hoping we get the same energy from our crowd this weekend. But whenever, like, even like a PSAs, because it's all individual based, like people, it's like golf a little bit. You cheer accordingly, unless you have Tiger Woods out there, and we don't have Tiger Woods out there. But when there is a team, a city identity, everyone just gets naturally louder. It just makes it easier. It's more fun as a fan to just cheer. You want to cheer. You want to make noise. That's the whole point of these events. So anyway, let's get into the rosters. Lake Erie's roster was Karina Taima, world number 88, Kira Marshall, world number 75, and Alina Bushma, world number 50, versus the Seattle roster of Asia Harris, world number 80, Layla Sedke, world number 82, and world number 9 from Belgium, Tina Gillis, arguably NSL MVP last year. No offense to Melissa Alves, but she, I think, was the only one. Alina played some matches and Kira played last year, but Tina has some experience, and obviously from a world ranking perspective, far and ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, she was incredibly close, and we're going to talk about it towards the end in that third period, but she was incredibly close to making NSL history with the amount of points that she managed to accumulate. It was pretty evident, the ranking difference, although we say it a lot, in the NSL, the rankings aren't necessarily the be-all and end-all, but in this case, it seemed to be Tina against the world.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. I mean, right now, as it stands, and I'm waiting to be proven wrong, I think on the women's side, rankings do matter a lot more than the men's side. Obviously, we just talked about Greenwich, almost like Lake Erie. Here, when you have the second highest player was Alina Bushma, who also was fresh off of a plane from Bermuda. She had a good tournament down there. It was just tough for Lake Erie to really get settled. Again, I do think home crowd. It would be interesting if this match was played in Cleveland, Lake Erie, how it would have shook out. But let's go to it. First period went 35-30 to Seattle. The key moment. Tina started the match, and it was dominant. She was 18-7. I think she went against two people, but started first, sadly, for Alina Bushma, and Alina, fresh off the plane, just couldn't get settled. And then they didn't even call the power play for Tina. So it was a clean 18-7. And I don't know what your thoughts were there, but it was just
I mean, seeing Alina. She looked a little bit tired, a little bit leggy in the first period, especially. Obviously, just coming back from Bermuda. And a 10 a.m. match is not usual for players. They don't play in the mornings, really. Obviously, they will train in the mornings, but serious match play, a little bit different. And Tina, for whatever she had for breakfast, it was seriously fired her up. She was absolutely on fire and gave her team a massive cushion in the first period and the rest.
Did you see that video of her catching the fish?
Yes.
That was on, like, maybe she had fish.
Maybe G'd her up a little bit.
I didn't know. I don't know why fish is the Seattle thing, but seeing her behind the fish parking after that was gold. We need more of that. Maybe I should have somebody catch a cheesesteak or something this week.
She immersed herself in the Seattle experience.
Clearly, I mean, there's something in the water there. I mean, she did great. And Kira Marshall did have an 8-point power play here. I believe it was against Asia Harris. And Asia, I think, that was one where there was the coaching. Asia was a little all over the place to start. We'll get to her. She had a great finish. But I think other players on all sides didn't really know the rules as much, except for Tina, obviously.
They were definitely struggling a little bit with especially the power play, which we'll get into later on. But that first period, Tina had built up such a lead, and you could see, I don't know if you could see on the stream, that she was visibly very frustrated that
I didn't see that.
The team had sort of got it back to being so close, and that the Lake Erie Beacons ended up being within 5. And at one stage, I think it was 25-24 at one stage after Kira's power play, which she was brilliant in that power play. She held off Layla defending one, and then she went after her attacking one. So that brought it a bit closer, and Tina just about gave them enough of a cushion to just take that first period.
Layla did get 5 points on the power play, which did carry that through. But to your point, I would be talking about this period a lot differently had Lake Erie completed the comeback. But 35-30 to Seattle, which was good. Now let's get to the second period. Like you said, it was amazing that Tina had such a big lead, and then the second period somehow, key moment of the second period, she did better than the first period. She went 22-5. Sorry, and again, 0 power plays. The power play, and maybe that was a purposeful coaching decision. Like, let's just let Tina run the show. She started the second period, which was great, gets them out to that lead, and it saved the power plays for later because it was just unbelievable.
Yeah, her NSL experience as well, along with her ranking difference, definitely shone through a little bit. I think you could tell Asia and Layla, especially home crowd, big advantage with that, but they were a little bit nervy to start with, and they weren't, too familiar with the format and the rules, and Tina put them on their back and sort of carried them through those first couple of periods, and then the third period was a little bit different, but it was very, very impressive from Tina with no power play to basically clear them out within 5-6 minutes.
Pretty much it was like a power play, and that is I'll highlight the last statistic that does make that even more impressive. Tina used 0 power plays this entire time. No shot, disrespect to Layla and Asia. It's also cool Layla is from the area, so that was cool for her. But they combined were a -8 in the second period, and in the first period they were -6. So thank God Tina had built up such a big lead for both of those periods. And again, I should have also said this before the match started. For those that didn't watch, Seattle lost to Sono for love their first match of the season. And, if they didn't win 4-0, they would have been screwed. There was no hope, playoff hope whatsoever. Yeah. But lucky for them, now going into the third period, Seattle won 44-27 to take the match for Love. It was unbelievable. And actually, Tina still did have technically the best plus-minus of this period for her team. She was a +7, but I want to give flowers. My key moment of this shift was actually Asia Harris. So Asia Harris, I forget what her timing was, but as I said, she did not look great up to that point. She was very confused when she led up to 8 points on the power play. She was a -12 going into the third period, but she went on against Kira Marshall, who I would argue was playing the best for Lake Erie that day, and took care of business both on the power play where she scored 4 points and then got an extra 3 to top that against Kira, which is good.
Yeah, third period, definitely, it sort of clicked for Asia a little bit. I think mainly with the rules in the format, she was struggling with that a little bit, especially with like returning serve on a power play and like she can serve from any side she wants. And like Kira was also struggling with that. It was quite funny to see. They were both sort of just running back and forth like that.
Yeah.
But no, she definitely sort of understood it a little bit better in the third period and started to play a little bit more freely. Maybe the point cushion helped that a little bit with obviously Tina playing so well. She felt a little bit more comfortable that her team was going to back her up. I don't know what it was. Obviously, maybe try and speak to her at some point about how she feels about the format. But yeah, it was good to see that she sort of finally got it sorted.
Yeah, and I think Seattle, I'm trying to remember where, there was a good timeout called that allowed Tina to sort of get her lives because she did have a lot of time. And Tina, I think they also had what they called a power play against her, and she did a great job of slowing. They called both the power plays in the third period against Tina, which actually probably was smart.
And that's what
defensive standpoint.
Me and Sean were saying between the second and third period that Lake Erie had to do something to throw them out of their rhythm, and whether it worked or not, they had nothing to lose. It was they were getting pumped anyway, so you may as well try and do something. And we said like from the start they should do like back-to-back power play just to stop Tina. Yeah. And obviously they didn't actually use a substitution, their extra one in the third period, which I'm not sure has ever happened before. I'm not sure I've ever seen that.
Times. I think it happened with Assault actually in that match too. But
like Tina was left on to do the rest of the work in that last period, but maybe a couple of power plays might have tired her out, might have slowed her down a little bit, locks the score a little bit closer, gets a bit tenser. Me and Sean were just looking for a bit of a change in tactics and really go for like an unorthodox approach.
And I think they did call both power plays against Tina. And, you look on paper, the other crazy part was Kira Marshall. Layla Sedke called a power play against her, got 0 points.
Yes.
I think it's like the second time that's ever happened in NSL. First, so like on paper, if you knew going into that match, you'd have a power play with 0 points and 4 minutes of a Tina power play, you'd be like, Lake Erie's going to have to take this one.
It's going to be a little bit closer at least, isn't it?
Right. And that's why I give a lot of credit. So they won the period by 17 points, but I give Asia Harris a lot of credit, going 7-0 in her shift, because that was probably the opportunity Lake Erie was looking to strike. And Asia, after 2 periods of maybe not great squash, turned it up, answered the bell, and brought home the win for Seattle.
Yeah, it was good in the end, obviously. Again, I'm not sure whether the home crowd played a bit of a part for Layla, maybe feeling the pressure a little bit, but 0 points on a power play is definitely stressful. Oh, yeah. If you're sat on the bench watching. And again, like in that third period, Tina was very animated. They had a timeout, and she was coaching. Vicky Lush was sort of sat away, letting Tina do the business. She's got that. She's an NSL champion. She's got the experience and helped her team and helped Asia and Layla sort of bring it home. And obviously Asia with that good shift in the end on the power play with 7 points.
So. Yeah, it was great. So again, back to that stat that we're talking about. Now, this is all cumulative NSL history. Tina finishes the match at +36. +36 is insane. Not only that, again, she had 0 power play minutes for her, and she defended 4 minutes of power play. So think about that. If there was, she didn't have those minutes, would have been even greater. There is one person that is better than her in NSL history, and that is Amanda Sobey this year in the DC Massacre, as I like to call it, where she still holds the record for the best individual shift at +25 against Olivia Klein. But she did have power play minutes in her +37. And I have to mention the third highest plus differential at the end of a match. Do you know who it is? It's a guy.
Abu Algar?
Abu Algar, that's what I'm talking about. You just go to the best team, think about the power play specialist, right? That's how it works.
Well, I was a stat man for that match,
Oh,
was it when he had the power play on Mossad?
For
against Atlanta.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just that. I forget. I think he had 7 or 8 points there, but he was a +34. But back to the point what makes tennis, we gave him all 8 power play minutes. So when you're obviously you're the only one that your point differential just goes up and up. So Tina Gillis, obvious player of the match here.
Yeah.
Unbelievable performance. And with that, you know, they haven't technically clinched a playoff spot, but so long as Sono wins 1 period point in their match against Lake Erie, Seattle has punched their ticket to the playoffs. I imagine Sono, just to ensure, again, they're hosting, they better be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So as long as that happens, the playoff picture is pretty much set, and I'm giving the commentators jinx right now. Sono, New York, DC, and Seattle should be very fun. What I also have to add to this is the Lake Erie women's team is unfortunately now the new Chicago Grizzlies. They are 0-3 in regular season matches, 0-4 if you include they were in the playoffs last year because everyone made the playoffs. And the question is, when will it end?
When will their streak end? I mean, they did have a couple of players missing as well.
Gina Kennedy,
yeah,
you know.
I think that would have maybe leveled it up a bit and maybe took the pressure off those, like Alina, you push her down sort of one spot, and then Kira or Karina. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. If she's not available, she's not available. So
I don't know if she wasn't in the German Open. I don't know where Gina was, but
it would have definitely helped, especially like the physicality. We say maybe the gap between the men and the women's game of the rankings is a little bit different. Obviously, I think it maybe stems the more physicality side of it. They're all obviously very, very talented players, but Tina is constantly playing at that top 10 level, that pace. She's playing people like Hania, Shabini, whereas those lower ranked women aren't quite getting that exposure to that pace. So maybe that was a factor. Obviously, Gina is also known for her physicality, similar player to Tina. Would have been interesting to see her out there, but unfortunately, she wasn't there for them.
It is what it is. So anyway, congrats to Seattle. Now, Joe, it's time to move on to the match. Now, the first question I have for you is, do you have a team? Do you have a team that you support in the NSL?
Well, I mean, I'm sat opposite you, BG, so I feel like I have to say Philly Lightning. Obviously, I live here as well, so, you know, I feel like I probably should support.
See, Joe, I'm so glad, because when Spencer's here, he has to be unbiased. He says he's unbiased. First off, he also loves Newport. It's such BS. He deep
That's
down,
his team, isn't it?
so we're going to keep an eye on that in case Newport makes it.
You're also a Newport hater, I hear, right?
Me? Well, I'm not a hater. I just call it as I see it. I call facts. I just don't think their roster is championship material. Speaking as an NSL champion myself, I'm qualified to say that, which is a good segue. Hang on. Now that we're getting into this part of the segment.
Oh, what's he brought? Oh, dear.
Oh, God. Hang on. No. We now have a hat here.
Oh, wow.
From M4.
Oh, thank you.
If you would like it, you can rip it off. You can keep it on for this part.
I might put it here.
But we
Don't suit a hat, really.
Do you want some sunglasses too?
I'll take a pair of sunglasses.
Sunglasses. We're in Philadelphia Lightning mode right now.
You know what? I'll put the hat on just for the clip.
This is what I'm talking about. Big match. Big match this Saturday, April 25th. New York Knights.
My head's too big, BG.
Yes. You got to make sure you take off that tag too. There you go. Oh, look at that. Now you got to rock that this Saturday.
Here we go.
April 25th. New York Knights, champions of the NSL in 2024. You look good, Joe. You look really good. Against the 2025 NSL champion Philadelphia Lightning. We are partnering with Squash March, which is our local SCA organization. We're doing it for the kids. Super excited about that partnership. They always put on an unbelievable event. It's the best shot ball. It's their fundraiser. It's red, white, and blue themed. I don't want to give away too much, but we are going to have some surprise guests, some surprise performances.
Wow.
I'd like to think last year was one of the best NSL events. I think this one, based on everything that's going on, it's going to be just as good, if not better. I don't want to put too much pressure on the guys, Steve Gregg, Debbie Dallin, those guys. They're doing a great job putting this together, but it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, last year it was a lot of fun. There was obviously, they have the massive racket. We had the Phillies mascot, I think. Was
Philly
it?
Fanatic.
Yeah, that's
right.
it. The big green guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was exciting, and I think that was my first NSL match live that I'd seen. So set the bar high.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've been to a lot now. I've come all the way from being a barman at the NSL to commentating and sat in the studio. So
and now you're on the podcast.
Exactly, yeah.
It is good. And
it's definitely a really good event. It's nice to get all the squash mats kids involved. Me and Spencer know Yash, who's their sort of head program director. We know him very well, so we all live together.
Yeah.
And I know how much work goes into these events, especially in the lead up and then on the day as well. It's a tough weekend for them, but very rewarding as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought up Yash Bhargava, because one of the other key parts of this match, and we are doing this on purpose to intimidate our opponents. You see this, Joe?
You got him a ring.
I've got a ring for Yash Bhargava, former member of the Philadelphia Lightning. People forget. he didn't go to Jared. He went to Jostens. And let me tell you, no one on the team has seen this bad boy yet. But it looks good.
Let's have a look.
Whoa.
Well, I'm not allowed to see.
Whoa. No, absolutely not.
What if I put my hat back on?
Maybe, but the players haven't even seen it. I'm not letting the player. The players are really mad at me because I'm not letting them see it. It is. We're gonna have a ring ceremony before the match starts. We're gonna intimidate the New York Knights that way and let them know that we're champs. We got some videos planned, but let's get into the roster because the other thing, all the NSL analysts, all of the gambling pundits out there actually have the Philadelphia Lightning as underdogs, and I need your take on that. So the New York Knights are bringing to town Ian Yao, Baptiste Masadi, so Ian Yao, world number 16, Baptiste, number 19, Shah Jahan Khan, world number 64, against Philadelphia Lightning, Marwan El-Shirbagy, number 9, Nathan Lake, number 50, and Nick Wall, number 54. We're all English, by the way, Joe. That's probably another reason why you like us. But how are people saying that the Lightning are underdogs here?
I actually think it's pretty even, I would say. I think that Marwan and Yao, obviously Marwan sort of edging up to the older side now, a little bit more of a veteran on the PSA Tour. Yao a little bit younger, he's still sort of paving his way through the rankings. That will be definitely a close matchup. Nathan, I think, is your sort of dark horse a little bit. He's very, very steady. He loves the grind. He gets a lot back. He's not praised for like his speed and his retrievals, but there's literally no ball that he's not going to run after.
Yeah.
And then Nick Wall, another lefty as well, is very, very talented with his racket, quite relaxed figure. Against, Baptiste, very hard hitter, very, likes to play at a high pace, and the same with Shah. I've not actually seen Shah in the NSL format either.
He played the first year. I think it was the top draft pick in the first year. I forget if he played a match, but he was not there last year.
Yeah.
So he was available for draft. The Philadelphia Lightning actually did consider taking him. Didn't work out. And so now he is, in my mind, actually the dark. I'm a little nervous about him. It depends what kind of Shah Jahan we get.
Yeah, I'm just not sure, whether the experience of Nathan and Marwan, especially obviously winning the championship last year, may play in as a factor a little bit against this team who maybe haven't had the full exposure to the NSL, especially that's going to be at the Spectre Centre. It's going to be home crowd. Yeah, it's going to be very loud. It's obviously a big building. A lot of noise travels through there. So be interesting to see how the New York Knights deal with that. I would say that they're maybe lacking a little bit of flair in terms of going in short on the power play. It'd be interesting to see who they use. But yeah, it'll be an exciting one. It's definitely going to be close.
It's going to be close. So it's the two. That's more content. 250. We're red, white, and blue themed. So 250th celebration. If you haven't gotten your tickets, check out our Instagram. Should be very fun. Starts at 6. Doors open at 6 p.m. Show I think starts at 6:30. Now let's talk about playoff scenarios. So right now there's 5 teams vying for 3 spots. Philadelphia Lightning are still in contention. The New York Knights are still in contention, and then all 3 teams: Greenwich, Lake Erie, and Newport of the NSL North. Yeah. If Philadelphia wins 3-1 or 4-0, or if it goes to a shootout, the New York is eliminated pretty much because of a point differential situation and a period point. So, and if that happens, the wild card will come out of the NSL North. If New York wins 4-0, there's no questions asked. Philadelphia is eliminated. New York is the champs. If they win 3-1, it will come down to point differential. And I shouldn't be saying this. We'll see if the New York Knights are listening because I'm pretty much giving them the script. If they win by 7 or more points total, they will be division champs. Anything less, they will likely be eliminated, actually, because there's the point differential issue. There is one scenario, I think I've calculated correctly, that if they win by exactly 7 points, or it's 6 points or 7 points, the wild card actually becomes very interesting with the Greenwich Panthers.
Right.
And I think they will get it there. But that's what's at stake. No matter what, there will be, at least one ticket punch to the NSL finals this weekend. Joe, I'll give you my prediction, but I think we want to hear yours first because we know what's going to happen. Well, you know where my prediction is going to be.
I'm going to go for a 3-1 Philly.
Philly.
Yeah, I think the experience of the format is going to pull through a little bit, and the home crowd, the occasion. You've got John White, who hopefully is mic'd up because I love those videos as well.
That'll be content.
They're very, very entertaining, but I think just the experience might pull them through. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think you might go 1 down, but I think over the course of time, I think the experience is going to pay off just.
I think you'll be fascinated where I'm going to land.
You're going to say 4-0.
No, that's
all right. 30-0 every period.
I'm trying to. This is a hard one. It's emotion logic, and I'm really trying not to lean emotional. So I'm going to overcorrect and go overly logical. Another interesting tidbit about this match: John White, obviously coach of Lightning. Do you know who's coaching the New York Knights?
I don't.
Joe White. We got a battle of the great whites here. If you consider Joe a great white.
Yeah.
I think the New York Knights are going to actually win the first 2 periods. I think they're going to give us their best shot in the face. They're going to knock us down. But what Philly does as underdogs, especially in boxing, is we get up, we punch right back. We're going to win that 3rd period, clinch the division on that 3rd period, and then we're going to win the shootout just for fun, just like we did last year. It's going to be exactly like what happened last year. Philadelphia Lightning win the shootout. We're going to go 3-1. We're not going to make it that exciting in the shootout. 3-1, punch our ticket into the finals, and that's what's going to happen. Well,
I think you're right in terms of New York are definitely going to come out at you because they've, again, similar to some of the other teams like the Panthers, they've got really nothing to lose now. They need 4-0 or it's pretty much done. Yeah. So they're definitely going to be coming out firing on all cylinders. I'm guessing we might see some unorthodox power plays being taken, some unorthodox substitutions. I think it might try and shake you out your rhythm a little bit. But like you said, I do think eventually, over the course of time, I think Philly will come out on top in this one.
The Philadelphia Lightning. It's good to hear, Joe. I'm thankful you did that. Now I can take off the hat. We have finished this episode. By the time we are back next week, it might be Spencer, it might be Joe. I don't know who will be joining me, but we will know if the Philadelphia Lightning are going to the playoffs or not. So make sure you tune in for the match, Saturday, April 25th. Should be unbelievably exciting. And keep following us on Instagram at NSL Sport. And we will see you guys next week.
Thank you.
We used to say we won't get older. It'll be alright. We wait to change and then it's over. But it'll be alright. All those years we used to know. Taking control.